All right. Hello, everybody. I absolutely hate technology. So, hopefully, you can hear me. It is showing on my end that you guys can hear me. Um, we are going to get started here in a second. So, let me know where you're coming from, where you're calling from. I managed to make this work. I had to restart my camera, of course. That didn't work. Then I had to restart my computer, which normally is really fast, but today it felt very slow because obviously I'm trying to make this happen. But look, we are in landscape mode, so at least it is the right way. Better late than never, right? So we're going to jump in. What are you going to need today? So I have a couple of projects planned. And hello, everybody from Nantucket, from Maine. Got Massachusetts and New Hampshire here. Sorry, Massachusetts and Maine. Can't think and function at the same time. We're going to be doing some stuff with circles. So grab something round around you. I think we're going to start. We're not going to start with the circles. It just gives you a chance to kind of get everything settled. But we are going to be making a bookmark at some point. So my bookmark would be like I don't have a ruler. So about maybe this wide right here. I'm going to use just my paintball. So that's about the size circle I'm going to use. So depending on how big your painting is, to reference, this would be my bookmark, and I want the circles to be about that big. So you don't need it right now, but we'll just get it ready for you. So we're going to start by painting a mushroom. A cute little mushroom set. So hopefully you guys like mushrooms. We did Valentine's Day stuff yesterday. I'll probably do maybe one Valentine thing today. It's not like you guys liked it, but you want to maybe do something non-Valentine's-y. So we're going to do a couple of bookmarks. You don't have to do a bookmark. You can still do the artwork as a bookmark. Without a bookmark, you just do the artwork. But I'm going to make it a bookmark. I freehand cut this because I have no idea what my rulers are. I am not working from my normal spot. Normally I am in my art studio, and I know where absolutely everything is in my art studio, and here I just kind of shoved it into this tiny little desk that I used to work in, and I don't know how I functioned there, but I'm going to kind of just freehand cut this, and then I can always just clean it up later. I'm going to make mine a little bit wider, just give myself some room for my artwork. This. And then you guys had asked, people messaged me and asked me questions about like brushes and paper that I use. I have an Amazon supply list, and that Amazon supply list literally has everything I use and everything I recommend, from the cheaper stuff to the more expensive stuff. I post that in every single description of my YouTube video, including the one yesterday. So once this is in replay mode later, I will be able to, sorry, my computer's popping messages at me and I'm reading it. I will be able to add the link to my supply list later. So we're going to start with mushroom. We're going to do kind of a loose watercolor style mushroom. So I'm just going to be starting with the mushroom cap. So if you're doing this in a bigger piece of paper, then like if you're landscape mode, then you'll probably just want to alter it a bit. But I'm going to have like a mushroom here, kind of leaning to the side, and maybe like a little baby mushroom right here. just to kind of offset that a bit. So, and I know yesterday some of you guys messaged me and said you don't know how to comment on YouTube, and you're on YouTube, totally fine. You don't have to comment, but I appreciate it if you comment, subscribe, like all that stuff. If you don't know how to comment, there is a live chat mode on the video if you're in live chat, and then a comment mode if you are in the comments. So I am going to be, so here's my cap. Now, to make this a little bit more realistic, so this cap, I'm going to have it where sometimes you can see the underneath part of the mushroom, like, you know, the little like tethered fibers and stuff. But this is going to be kind of tilted where you're seeing it straight on, so I'm not going to be able to really see that. So I'm just going to draw the stem directly like that. And again, this is a loose watercolor style, so we're not going for perfection. And I'm going to put like a small one right here. So I'm going to draw that out first. I'm going to make that one look fat. I feel like the baby mushrooms have fatter caps here. So then when I draw the stem, I can tuck it behind. Yeah, there we go. That's it. I put my paint palette away, which makes zero sense. Why would I do that? Okay, so that's pretty much it for what I'm going to have sketched out. I'm going to freehand paint the rest of it. I'm going to grab a medium-sized brush, just like I did up. I do want to draw one more thing. I'm going to put the little spots on the mushroom, kind of like your quintessential mushroom. Even though in real life, I don't think I've ever seen mushroom with spots. Not that I see a lot of mushrooms. The ones in the stores, I don't think I've seen any little spots on them. I'm doing little ones. I feel like little ones look a little bit more whimsical. I'm going to do tiny little spots, just so I know where not to paint. And I didn't sharpen my pencil since yesterday because, like I said, I don't have a sharpener here. And in the studio. But it seems like you guys like the live painting, so if you do, maybe we don't have to wait for a snowy day to do another one, and then we can always do more. Okay, so I'm going to go back to get my medium brush. And I always have a towel by me, or paper towel, whatever, because I like to dab the excess paint off. So I'm going to go back to my Indian red again. I used that a lot yesterday, and I don't remember which one it is on the palette, so I'm going to put fresh paint. So I'm going to just put a little water down, just a little more flow with my painting, and just start painting the little caps. So I'm going to go just around my spots. And the quicker you work, the less chance you have of these lines showing up on the watercolor. So, and also, if you work quickly, it kind of prevents you from overthinking your artwork, which I know is kind of an issue with a lot of us, right? People ask me, how do I not overthink my artwork? I don't overthink my artwork because I usually wait until the last second to paint stuff, and so then I'm on a time crunch, and then I can't overthink it because I'm on a time crunch. I definitely get some paintings that commission work where I'm kind of dreading it because either the quality of the photo is not great, so I'm a little worried about how well it's going to turn out, or it's something that I'm not comfortable with skill-wise, which for me is definitely people. I hate doing commissioned people portraits because I feel like I know how I feel when people just take my picture and I hate it, and that's obviously more accurate than a painting, and I hate it. So I can imagine like if somebody's doing their own interpretation of my face in painting mode, I'm not going to like it. So I'm putting more red on the outside here. I'm doing another layer of red here, and that's how you get that nice rounded effect. And if you remember from yesterday, I don't love the reds that Dr. Paige Martin has. I'm adding a little bit of orange right now just to tone down that red mode. If you like the red, stick with it. And now I'm going to take my paper towel, or my towel, and I'm going to press down right in the middle just to lift some of that color up. And I'm going to do the other little definition of that. Okay. Now it's a tiny one, so if you feel like you need to switch to a smaller brush, by all means do that. Whatever makes it more comfortable for you. So I'm curious for those. I know some of you said you were watching on TV, so you can't really comment either. But if you're on your phone or laptop or something, you can comment. Let me know how it went yesterday. Did you have a favorite from what you did? Were you surprised by some of the stuff you did yesterday? Did you... I want to hear how it went. Okay, there's that little motion cap. Okay. Easy peasy. Okay. So I'm not going to do the stem yet because I want to wait for that to dry. I definitely don't want to risk that red bleeding off the stem. Okay, so I'm gonna ground this a little bit, so I'm gonna just do brown right here, and I'm going to just do wet on wet. So I'm just putting some water here, like this, and I'm gonna take I'm mixing my brown and my liquid with black from yesterday. And just, this is why I like using, like, I don't like washing my palette, because I end up with some good colors and I don't want to wash it. So I'm putting some brown here. A little bit more brown than that. I know I have sepia down here, but I can't find it. I'm going to put some dark brown. I have to be dark. So I'm going to put dark brown. That's more brown. One of the things to make it look a little bit more realistic is always go behind the stem a touch, so it doesn't just look like it's sitting on top of the gun like that. Alright, so now I'm going to do some green, make some green leaves. I'm going to take my green, but I want it to be a little bit less vibrant, so I'm going to add a little bit of this brown to it. Let me see if I like it. I'm going to do a little brown just to make it a little less vibrant. I'm looking for that kind of because of this kind of green right there. I'm adding a touch of brown to my green. I'll do it this way so you guys can see. Yeah. I'm still using the same brush, but you don't have to. Now this is wet, so I'm going to avoid this area. But I'm going to put some greenery behind here. So I'm just going to do like a little line like this. Like this. It's kind of behind it. Go off the page a bit. And then, you know what, I'm okay with it bleeding a bit. I think it looks kind of cool. So I'm going to go like that. And some shorter ones like this. And then just add some scraps like this. It's kind of like a, it's more like a, maybe like a weed. I know weeds aren't like, you know, for being pretty, but hey, that's what sunflowers, right? Isn't that what sunflowers is technically weed? So let's add some greenery here. Yeah, that's kind of cute. Some cinnamon stones. This is where you want to like look at yours specifically and see where do you feel like it's missing something. I feel like mine needs to go more like that. Alright. That's cute. I like it. That is super cute. Okay. Now we're going to work on the stem. And we're going to do kind of this original brownish gray, really light color. So it's really what I'm going for. It's kind of like a translucent grayish. I want it to be very translucent like that. And then I'm going to concentrate most of that right behind this part of the stem, like that. And just kind of tapping it in like that. And then as my brush being mostly dry, I'm going to just pull this down like this to create that shadow. And it's better to start with less paint because you want to be able to layer in more paint if you need to. Do the other stem, which there's like not much here to do, so I'm gonna just add like that. You can't really see much to it. Little guy's stem. And then I'm gonna go underneath the mushroom cap piece that's gonna be casting a shadow right there. And I think this part of the mushroom cap has those like lines in it a little bit, so I'll add a couple of these little lines. I'm just kind of pulling this through. Like that. Anything that needs more shadow. So now see, I can go back in and I can add shadow. And I think it needs it. Isn't it so cute? Okay, so now I feel like it's definitely missing stuff, so this might be a time to do some splatter. Oh, I know what I want to do before I do some splatter. I want to add some shadow around these little spots so that they look a little bit like they're sticking out. So I'm going to just take my red paint. Oops, that's pink. I'm going to take that red paint I have. So I want it to be like a dark red. And I'm just going to go around, but I'm only going around one side of these little spots, like right there, and then keep it consistent. So if you pick the right side of the spot, then do the right side on all of them. Otherwise, it looks like your light's all over the place and it's not going to work right. So see how that's kind of giving it a little bit more dimension right there. I'm looking at this. I see it looks like it's a little dented in here. I'm gonna kind of roll with that. I think it looks cool. If you kind of have this natural indentation looking thing on your mushroom cap, then this is a good area to put more shadow in. So see how that just made it a little bit more rounded right there. Okay. So now I'm going to put a little more shadowing on the red paint. Make sure to get rid of that red paint that we've got on the stem. So now that my stem is dry, I'm going to add more shadow for the pink a little bit more. And then, if you like to cook, then you know, if you ever work with mushrooms, then you know that you kind of have to wash off. The stems get kind of that stain, like the dirt stains and stuff on them, so you want to wash those off, but you don't put them on here because of this stem. These are mushrooms growing in the wild, right? So I'm going to put a couple little spots. So I'm making sure my brush is very dry. So it doesn't, I'm looking for like this natural dirt spots. So I'm making sure my brush is dry when I put the paint on there, just so that it doesn't bleed out. See, a couple little spots. Optional, of course. And then I'm going to put some more right here, shadowing underneath here, just so it looks like it's shading that area. Okay, so now we'll do some fun splatter. Okay, so I'm going to put my towel underneath my bookmark here. And then I'm going to cover my mushroom up. I don't want splatter on there. And then I'm going to take my big moppy brush and we're going to make a mess. So I'm going to do some reds. Here. And what I do is I just kind of stick my finger out and then just tap. So that way, a lot of people like to flick. If you flick, you get it everywhere. But if you tap, it's a little bit more controlled. Well, it's controlled can be right. That's it. And I'll clean up, I'll cut this a little bit cleaner later when I get a ruler. And then, I think I have, I don't have it on me, but I have those things where you can cut the corner off of them where it's rounded. I don't have it here. But it kind of is like a paper cutter that kind of cuts the edges so it's a little bit rounded on the bookmark, which is really cute. But I think it's I found it. I knew I had it here. So you can use these things if you have one around or you don't. And then just of course, if you don't have it, don't worry about it. Okay. Let's move on to our next one. And then I'll put a hole punch in, of course. And then, so I use this for a splatter. I'm going to do the back of it. Just use that and paint over it. Okay, so this is going to be another bookmark. I'm going to put this down. Especially if I'm painting on it. Alright, so this is where we're going to use circles. I'm not actually going to use this in freehand draw it because I kind of want mine to be imperfect. But if you're like, hey, I cannot draw a circle that even looks like an egg, then use a stencil. So what we're going to do is we're going to start, we're going to do like, they're going to be citrus slices. So like grapefruit, orange slices, but they're going to be the round. So I'm going to do this over here. So, I see people do these. They'll just do a couple of circles that are perfect. To make it really cute and whimsical, you really want to try to put some behind other ones. So it looks like orange slices just kind of floating in the water. So I'm going to do, like you don't want it perfectly situated. Here, can I put this mark up here? I can't see my eraser, but I looked at my screen and I saw it on the screen, so the YouTube helped me out this way. So, I definitely need to go to the corner here with this. I think that's good. If you want to put like some half slices, you can. Like this. Okay, so now I'm going to erase my lines because I want them to be very bright. So I have them where I can just barely see them. Okay, so now you're going to find your center point, and we're definitely doing more drawing. So you're going to do your center point. Find the center of all of them. Okay, and then I'm going to draw another circle inside the circle. That's going to be the round. And then we're going to erase that too. That. going to be perfect because I'm going to erase most of these lines. I just want it to be cloudy. Before you erase these, we want to put in the slices. So what we're going to do is think of like a pizza slice. So we're going to do this. And the reason I don't do like a clock is because they don't really function that way. So if you do it like this, they're not going to be perfectly lined up, and that's what makes them look a little bit more realistic. So, for instance, like if you look at like this line and this line, they're not perfectly lined up. This line and this line are not lined up. So that's what helps them look more like slices, because they don't look like clocky. So then you're going to round off the edges like this. Like that. And voila, you've got your slice. So let's erase the excess lines here so you can see what you're going for. And the other thing is you want to erase this center circle for sure. And then we're going to put these into a corner here. You don't want these points to come to the middle. You need that space in between there. Alright, so see how that, I really wish my pencil was sharpened, but oh well. Alright, so let's go to the next one. Do this a little faster, now look. Go through it. Okay, now these edges off. Cut. This would also make a really cute green color. And then, once you paint this, if you still see lines, once it's dry, you can erase it out. Erasing the centers, like that. And just bring that to a point, like that. There we go. Citrus slices. Now we can paint. That's all I want. Okay. So what we're going to do, I'm going to do like grapefruit, lemon, lime. I'm going to do different ones. But what we're going to do is we're going to streak our colors in, because you want the white of the paper to kind of reflect through, so it looks like kind of juicy. I don't know how to describe that. So I'll show you one. let's see. Let's do a grapefruit. So grapefruit's like that same deep red, I think. Let's see. So I think I'm going more orange to them. And I'm going to water it down. I want it to be pretty watered down. I don't want it to be very... And then I'm tapping, so I got my color, I'm tapping the excess off on my paper towel. And then I'm just going to kind of streak like this here. Just like that. And then I want to make sure the outer edge, like right here, is where it was like that. And we will go through and add a little bit more once it dries. Okay. Don't spend too much time on each of them because that's where you tend to overwork. It won't start to look like it until you're done. So if you're like, oh, that doesn't look right, just keep going. Just trust that it's going to. This is my favorite of the orange, which is still citrus and still works. But now you can see how that white of the paper coming through helps with the shine. There we go. So now I'm going to go back in and drop in a little bit more. Yeah, right here. So now I'm dropping more paint right here. And it's still wet, so it's going to bleed a little bit, which is what I want. But it's not so wet that it's going to bleed all the way down. I just want a little bit, kind of at the end there. Like this. Has it already been like almost an hour? I have to leave. That's time's right. Granted, the first 15 minutes I wasn't in here. Okay, so a little bit more on this end too. Okay. There we go. There, cute, right? So now you're gonna take that same color you created. And you're going to draw on that outer circle. And don't worry about it being straight. You're going to soften up in a second. Yeah. Now, I'm going to take my clean brush, I'm going to dab it on the towel so it's just damp, and then I'm going to just take my clean brush and just kind of go over my line like this, because I want it to bleed slightly inward. Because if you notice a line like that. There. Cool. Okay. I'm going to do the next one. So I'm going to do a lemon. I'm going to do yellow. And like I said, just work quickly because that's how you keep yourself from overthinking. See, I'm doing it a lot quicker now because the quicker you do it, the less you overthink it. Doesn't mean you won't, just means you have less chance of it. You definitely can see my pencil lines, but I erased most of that. Alright, so now I'm going to do the outer edge. And now you can see the orange. See how it's bleeding a little bit? How it looks. The orange one. So now I'm going to take my clean damp brush and just do one here. And then once it's dry, I can go back and add more if I want. Alright, there's the yellow. Let's do an orange. Do an orange. Do an orange here. This, grapefruit looking. Blood orange. Remember, blood orange. My orange looks more like a grapefruit. So I'm going to do that one there. That brush. Here we go. Orange is done. We're flying through these now. Okay, now I'm going to do green. Green line. I feel like the faster I'm doing them, the better it's looking for me. I'm gonna add a little bit of yellow to this line. I think it's a bit more yellow. The lines are not really that good on the inside. I'm going to soften this with some yellow. Right now I'm just kind of taking a wash and I'm going to stamp it. Okay, take a towel. And then I'm going to do Alright, two more little ones. Let's do another lemon. this one I'm like a little more orangey. Like that. Use everybody. What did you think? Was it a lemon or was it orange? I don't know. What should I see? All right, one more to go. This is dry. I'm going to erase this to see how this looks now. Obviously make sure it is dry before you do this. Ideally wait until the next day, but yeah, see? So much better. So cute. Yeah, look how cute that is now. You can totally see. Oops, I streaked my green. That's okay. I'll probably put some splatter marks in there anyways to fill in that white space. Alright, one more. One more little bitty one. I'm going to do another, I think, blood orange. Just to kind of offset that a little bit. Or grapefruit. I don't know what this is. Kind of get that shade up. I'm not going to splatter it because I don't want it to end up on my. I'm going to do some dots here. Yeah, see, I like how it's giving it finishing work. Yeah. That's cute. I like it. All right. See how my mushrooms are looking cute. Okay. And then of course we can cut the edges. I'm not gonna erase the pencil marks just yet because obviously it's not quite dry. So let's do one more. Let's see, depending on how long it takes, maybe we'll do two more, but we'll do one more. Get fresh paper. I'll leave that there for a second while you guys add your finishing touches. Let's do a little itty bitty one. I'm taking, this is like a 6x9. I'm going to cut this in half. So I'm going to do kind of a postcard size. Let's do a little hummingbird. Okay, so I'm going to put that to the side. I'm just going to do a little one here. So this one's going to be kind of, do a little one. So you're going to take your thumb. You're going to take your thumb. And then draw. What are you doing? Hopefully, fatter your thumb apart better there, so it should be fun. So I'm just drawing a line here, like that. That's my fun. So then, you kind of round that off at the bottom. You don't want it straight, you want it kind of rounded off. Alright? So that's the shape I should have there with a little gap here on top. And then I'm going to take my finger, the forefinger, which is a little bit smaller, and I'm going to mark this area here like that. And then round it off like this. A little fat little hummingbird. How is this a hummingbird? Just roll with it. And I'm going to do the line. So about the 2 o'clock point at the top, I'm just going to draw this line out like that. And then I'm going to just kind of conjoin this line here. Like that. There's a beak. Pull that down a little bit. Move that line to come into the head a little bit. And then draw a tiny little circle right about there. And that's going to be the eyeball. So now I'm going to add tiny little feet. Like 1, 2, 3, like that. And then I'm just going to draw a little line for a branch. Like that. Then I'm going to put the tail in. So the tail is at the bottom here. Like that. There we go. There's your little hummingbird. Okay, so now we're going to do wet on wet. So I'm going to cover up this whole hummingbird except for the eye area. So I'm going to do it all wet here. This. The body. I'm avoiding the eye. I'm going to add some of my green that I had here from my previous painting. I'm going to drop it in at the top of the head. Oop, not that way. There we go. I'm going to drop it in right at the top here, like this. See that? Just a little bit. And then I'm going to take my red that I used for the grapefruit / blood orange, whatever it is. I'm going to put that right here. Now I'm going to take, I'm just looking for a yellow, light yellow, like that. And then right here, so it's the outside, so you can see the number. That's it. I'm going to take a little bit of my gray color that I have to put here, because this one is black, so I have a little bit of this shadow in here. Just like this. Oh, I'm good. And I'm going to take, could you like a different color? I'm going to do like black for underneath the tail. Maybe with a touch of green. It's something good. You can do any color you want. You can do different colors. So now I'm going to do wet on wet for here. Not super wet, just enough to carry paint. And then like that. I'm making sure not to touch the belly of the hummingbird because I don't want to bleed. And I'm going to add a touch of green just to give it a little bit of a cool effect like that. And then I'm going to let this dry. So I'm going to do another painting. But I'm going to let this dry because we want this to dry before we add the beak and eyes. So let's put this to the side. I'm going to leave that there for a second so you guys can catch up to that part. But we'll do one more. I'm going to do at least 4, right? Do coffee cup. Let's do coffee cup. Let's do the top of the coffee cup. So I'm gonna let this dry. Put this to the side for now. And then we're gonna move on to the coffee cup. So we want to do a circle. Let's find. I have a bigger piece of paper, so I'm gonna find a bigger circle. Let me see. Yeah, let's do that. So we want it to be about that size. I'm working slowly right now because I want you guys to try to find a circle and not be freaking out like, oh wow, I don't have anything that size. Maybe like the top of the coffee cup. How are you guys doing so far? Are you hanging in there? Okay. So let's do. So there we go. Now we're gonna do a latte. So, let me look at color. So we're gonna do a little beige. And we can either round this down or not. I'm gonna use a bigger brush. Yeah, see that's not the right color. We're actually gonna use white. Because we usually don't use white because we don't want it to look chalky. But in this case, chalky might actually work in our favor. Let us see, because I have no idea. I'm just kind of winging this right now. I want a cool, creamy latte color. Yeah, see? Sometimes chalky is good. I'm gonna draw kind of like a loose figure 8 like this. Because when you see coffee, in coffee, sometimes you have it like that. So I'm gonna do that. Okay. So I'm gonna do one of those things. It's just gonna be easier to paint it, you know. Alright, so now I'm just gonna do my latte. I'm just doing, you do what I want if you want. But I'm just going to I have no idea what I'm doing right now, but we're gonna see. We're gonna make this work. A lot of watercolors will tell you never use white, never use black. I'm not one of those people. I will never say never. the quicker you work, the more even it'll be. But if you have some spots that you don't like, don't worry, we're gonna add some dark brown. I'm gonna bring the top of the watercolor nice. That's very interesting. Alright, so now we're gonna get a dark brown. So my dark brown is gonna be sepia. And we're gonna put some dark brown in here. You might be bleeding a little bit, but okay, because it's liquid, which makes it look right. And look, there's some natural gaps in there. I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna leave those little spots in here and see what happens. I might like the way it turns out. Somebody is jumping on right now. It's hard to do what on earth. Alright, so now we're gonna put some little gaps in here. Gaps in the coffee. So I'm gonna put some circles like here. There's always like these little bubbles, right? I'm dropping them because it's still pretty wet. This is gonna look more like coffee once we add the reflections. Now it just looks like a disease. Okay, so now I'm going to clean my brush. And what I'm going to do is create the coffee in. So you can decide what kind of coffee, what color you want of your coffee cup. I'm going to do green in here. And the idea is you don't want to do perfectly solid color. You want it to have streaks in it from where there's a reflection. So so handle is just basically like a so all it is I'm gonna do like whoop, whoop. There we go. That's your handle. Very complicated. So if you're looking at it here, this is not like coffee. It's gonna look like coffee when we add the details, like the highlights and stuff. Okay. Let's add some coffee in. So we're gonna take our circle again and put probably not dry, but that's okay. Here. Take a small brush. I'm going to take my brown. I'm going to just kind of do a really rough with my line like this. That brown. So now I'm going to add some shadow here. So I'm going to take my brown and kind of go on the outer edge here. Shadow. That brush, just clean it out a little bit. So I'm going to do a little bit more like that. And I'm going to take that green again and just kind of add some shadows right here. So it looks a little bit poppy there. It's all about the shadow. Shadow, oops, add some shadow here. And now go mix the cup. It's starting to come together. Alright, so hopefully if you have Bluetooth white, this is what Bluetooth white comes in, or a white gel pen. To add some highlights. Forgot what I put this actually. Okay, so now I'm going to take my brush and then just a little. Yes. Because I'm being impatient. And I know when I'm being this impatient, I'm not going to make good lines. All you need is like a little highlight. Bubble highlight. I'm like, I don't know. Is this what coffee looks like right now? It's starting to look so kind of funny. Okay. There we go. Coffee cup. We can add a little shadowing to the coffee cup if we want. Like right here. I'll put some water. And this right here. I don't want to touch my coffee mug yet because it's still wet. And I'm going to just take a little bit of this gray I have and just kind of do a bit of shadowing. This is optional. It's only if it's like lighting. You could do it completely from the aerial point of view. That's fine. Alright. There's our coffee mug. Okay. Now let's go back to our hummingbird. Yep, see now our hummingbird's dry and we can finish that guy up and then we will be done. So, you can use a black micron pen if you want. I'm going to paint it with the black. So I'm just going to do a black beak. Get some black paint. This. Back is starting to hurt. So this is definitely going to be the last painting. So we're going to do a black for the beak, for the eyes, the feet, and probably do a brown for the bonnet. Let's see. We'll do the eyes, beak, and feet, and then we'll decide. So when you do the eye, leave white so that you have a nice pinpoint of reflection. So I'm actually going to draw a circle like that so that I have that pinpoint. And then don't load up your brush with a lot of paint because it gets harder to do these smaller details. So it's kind of going like that. And through this to the that. The eyes they don't join the beak, but they do in color. So now I do that black line. I'm going to I have a clean brush. It's wet, so there's no paint on it. So I'm just using the black from the beak that I drew to do this line here. Like that. I'm going to touch my black here. Just to do it in the line. Now let's do the feet. Do 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There you have it. So now let's do the branch. Let's do it like a. That's my color today. Just so you can see it well. Just add a little bit of I don't know what kind of branches this is, but just a little branch. Okay. Here's your little hummingbird. You can add a little bit more shadowing if you want, like right here. You can see a little bit of my pencil marks. I'm going to go over that just a little bit like this. Be careful because it's very easy to start overworking it at this point. We're going for whimsical. I don't want to be too detailed. It's like less is more for this one. And that's it. There's your little hummingbird. Alright, let's take a quick look at everything that we have done. Move my away. And here we go. So we've got hummingbird, coffee mug, and my citrus slices, which I have to dry. I'm going to try using it. And then my little mushroom. Yeah, see how much better it looks once you erase these lines. This comes together. Only do it if it's dry. You don't want to smear it. So those are our 4 pieces for today. Very different from yesterday, but I think these came out super cute. Let me know what you think. I can't wait to see what you guys painted. And it is still officially snowing here, but that's okay. So if you guys like this and you want to do it, even though it's not snow day, if you like these guys, let me know. Maybe we'll do a pet portrait one together. What do you guys think? Do a pet portrait piece? All right. I'm happy with these. I think these are super cute. Don't forget to sign them. And what's nice about hand drawing the paintings instead of tracing is that you can erase your pencil marks, so you don't show. There you go. All right. Have a good one. Thanks for joining me.